junior high school art students. I can talk loud.
I bet.
Okay.
And catch flying objects.
You bet, and catch naughty people. This is Sue Wickersham. She was the chairperson for the Mother Lode show. She and I was her co-chair. I just did little stuff, but she was the big boss. She just told me what to do. But she is going to, we're going to talk a little bit about MLS. We're going to show you the winners and say a little bit about what the artists themselves had to say. And I might just have to put my couple of cents there.
Please do.
Occasionally. And we're really sorry that Ms. Neath did not make it today. We really have no idea why. Yes, we reminded her. Who knows?
We hope she's okay.
We hope she's okay. We hope she just forgot, or I don't know, or had a...
And we're all going out to dinner on her money.
And yeah.
Anybody else want to come?
All right.
I'll
So
connect with her later.
Sue's gonna start this off.
So I want to give you a little bit, I'm into stats lately. I know they can be boring, but this is, in mine, as far as I know, this is the largest Mother Lode show as far as entries that Placerville Arts has ever had in 58 years. We had almost 700 entries from all across the United States. That was overwhelming, but amazing. She worked 3 days just to choose the 110 or so pieces that she wanted to be in the show. There's only 92 pieces in the show because we had a lot of people drop out, which was more than our average. It was about 14 or 15, usually it's 10 a year. And yes, we had alternates, and I called or emailed each one of them if they could come. All of her alternates were also in the show. We had, yes, Lynell?
I should inform you now that I've mixed up the order of the slides, so don't expect them to be in line.
This is a great.
Yeah, all right, well, we're jumping around.
In line with your beautiful little outline here.
Oh, well, that's okay. Okay, so we had about 165 people at the reception. I heard so many wonderful comments about how Placerville Arts did such an awesome job with the food, the drinks, the presentation, the curation of the show, which Cheryl does. So even I don't remember who he was, but he was husband to one of the artists in the show. He must have stopped me 3 or 4 times and was just beaming at how they had never been to such an, or in such an awesome show before. And I had a professional artist also who's in the show, and she stopped and talked to me 3 or 4 times, and the show was beyond her expectations. I'm still getting compliments today. I just got one from somebody else. So we did an awesome job, and I want to thank all the volunteers.
Yeah, thank
And if you want to help, let me know, because I'm already looking at judges for next year, so it's an ongoing thing.
Oh, that bounced too many. There.
Okay.
Best of show.
Oh, God, we're supposed to say that for last.
Hang
No,
on.
that's okay.
It's the
That's okay. That's
all
the
know this
show.
already.
Okay, keep going.
We
Yeah,
sold
you-
9 pieces that equaled over $5,800. Wow. It surpasses last year.
The PAA doesn't get that, though.
No, PAA doesn't get that. The artists get 80%. PAA used to get a certain percentage years ago, and we opted to give that to the artists, and the MAC gets 20%. And we have 2 more years for sure that will be at the MAC again.
Yay. The MAC is, if you haven't been to the MAC, how many of you have never been to the Mill Station Arts and Cultural Center? You need to go.
You have
It's
this
a
week.
lovely venue. It's really nice, and it doesn't really take that long to get there.
Okay, go.
Okay, Best of Show was given to, and you can all read, but I'm going to read it anyway. Best of Show was Nicole Alloy, called The Yellow Line. It's an acrylic. It's only about 12 by 12 inches, so imagine that. It did sell. In fact, both her pieces, I believe, sold. And this photo does not give it justice. It's much more yellow than that. It's a lovely, lovely little piece. And I think that one of the things that Dee felt about it, she said it was beautifully rendered. And I think Dee was drawn to the Mother Lode theme in some respects, and talked about how she grew up in the area doing, what did she say, something, playing the banjo and fishing in the creeks, and I think this kind of spoke to her, but it really was a very nice little piece. So I'm going to let Sue tell you whatever the artist had to say about it.
So Nicole is from Truckee, and she, in her artist statement, I thought it was kind of interesting. Her journey in the arts started as a philosophical one, finding balance, honesty, and thoughtful selections are skills for life as well as an evolving artist. After graduating from the University of San Francisco in philosophy, she became a commercial pilot, which was an extreme but great adventure. Her instincts for the skies are a complement to her designs and work ethic, and she returned to Earth to focus on the family business in construction and design. She returned to painting in 2020, when the world turned upside down. And with the guidance from masters and colleagues, she has emerged a lover of creative expression.
Yeah, this is just, it's pretty simple. It's got great composition and good contrast, and really and truly I wish you could see it in person because the colors on it, maybe you can if you make it down to the MAC before Saturday at 4 o'clock. It just really was a lovely piece. So here we go.
Nicole was one of the very last people to check her art in the day of the show, and one of the things that's really so awesome about volunteering for these kind of events is you get to meet those artists when they rush in with their piece of work, and you get to be one of the first people to see it, and you get to ask them about their technique. But I thought the thing that was most interesting about Nicole's work is Carolyn. It's like, that's my favorite thing to see coming in the door today. And then it got best of show. So pay attention to what Carolyn has to say about your art.
Yeah, it was really, really nice. Okay.
All right,
here we
slide
go.
number 3. Also surprise
Okay.
for you
This was
presenters.
an award of excellence, and in case you're not familiar, and the first time I was with Mother Lode, I really didn't understand the award structure because I got an award of excellence, which I was like, okay, and then my neighbor, then he said, well, I got a first place. Like, what? So there's Mother Lode overall awards, which are Best of Show, Awards of Excellence, Award of Merit, Honorable Mentions, and then Placerville Arts. If you were a member of Placerville Arts Association, you had an opportunity for 3 other awards, a first, second, and third place award with Placerville Arts Association. But the overall awards were chosen first. This was, her name is Betsy Kluga. It's called Queenie. It's wood, wire, cement, pigment, and an oak tree bowl. And she stands, well, it says 32 inches. And I wish it had been on a little turntable because the back side of her was actually kind of interesting looking. You know me. And anyway, so
TMI,
something
TMI.
about
Getting to
it.
know you.
But it was so interesting. And Betsy, let me find what Dee said was raw and elegantly organic were our judges' comments.
And when she came in, we all circled around this
Yeah.
piece. Betsy lives in Auburn, I think. She's a figurative sculptor. Sorry, I can't read this. I live in the Sierra foothills. I made several pieces during 2021 through 2024 fires as the bombers flew over the house and evacuation notices continued. The figure has become a metaphor for our personal and universal dramas. And oddly, all of my work during these stressful times has propelled me to a higher plateau. The job of creating has overcome all this adversity. I thought the fire thing was interesting because,
Yeah.
you know, we all handle that.
Differently.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one, what do we got? All right, here's an award of merit, and this is by Victoria Ruderman. It's titled Magnolia Blossoms. This is a archival pigment print, which she then went over the top of it with pastels. 22 by 28. And let's see, let me find. Great lighting was Dee's comment. Everybody oohed and on over this, and this also sold. Like she said, we sold 9 pieces. 9 pieces. We did really, really well there.
I bought this one.
She bought, yes.
So pastel over archival print.
So it's a photograph, and she has a 6-foot wide G-Clay inkjet printer in her studio. So she does her own prints and gets them where she wants them on the print, and then hand colors with pastel on top of that. And I hadn't seen the technique before, and I was in awe of the whole piece, and the luminescence of the piece is just amazing.
And I still see a little frown on your face. Photography is photography. You have to turn it in as a print, and photography is allowed in Mother Lode, as is digital work. You have to print it. What we don't allow are copies, reproductions of your original artwork. So say you did a acrylic and you had a giclée made out of it. No, it needs to be the original, just to maybe clarify a little. Don?
So this was entered as a print?
A photograph.
It was entered as a photograph.
Okay.
Yes.
That's fine.
Okay. Anything that she had to say?
Photograph, digital, and AI can all be prints.
Okay.
So the Mother Lode is an open theme
And open.
show.
Yeah.
Open medium, open theme, so it's all encompassing. So we don't have categories. And Victoria didn't say anything other than what it was, but she did come up to me a couple times during reception, and she was very impressed and pleased and thrilled and
I'm probably
honored.
excited that she sold it.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Another award of excellence, which again is just below Best of Show. This is called Bluebird by Mary Kober. It's an oil painting, pretty good size, 32 by 42. Kober, let me find her. Mary Kober. All the judge said was surprising. And keep in mind, this is while the judge is going around looking at over 100 or about 100 pieces and choosing, and she changes and goes back and forth and thinks about it, and she didn't have time to write a whole, paragraph about them, but surprising. I think she's talking about the elements of the more realistic woman and the bird with the window, and then these patches of these colors. It was a beautifully, if you love blue and green, it's just a beautiful, beautiful painting.
And I think, isn't this one that Dee was going back and forth on?
Honestly, I don't remember.
Okay, then I didn't say that. Mary says, pandemic inspired with a focus on solitude, this piece evokes the many shades of contemplation mixed with distractions of the mind.
Oh, artists are so cerebral, aren't they?
I don't know if anybody else has the thing, but I have to tell you, the green square on the foot,
Yeah.
I cannot look away from it.
Oh, I can see that.
It's every once in a while on a piece, there's something that your eye just hangs up on.
Well, it's in that place.
Yep, it is in that
And
frame.
right, and it's like I just hang right there. And if I was going to give this artist any kind of critique, I would have said, don't
Do
put
that.
that box on that foot like that. But that's maybe just me. Maybe it's not happening with anybody
We
else.
all have our opinions, don't we?
We
And
do.
sometimes we don't agree with anything the judge chooses. And if you want to be a judge, we'll pay you to be a judge. You got to have qualifications.
They won't let me be a judge. I keep offering, and they say, no, you
Nope,
cannot do
nope,
it.
No. Okay, what's next, honey?
I don't know.
It's probably another award.
No,
of merit.
it's that beautiful collage.
Award of Merit to Stephanie Pearson. It's called Waiting. It's a collage, 12 by 12. And Pearson, let me find her.
You would have thought this piece was a photograph just
It
to
was
look at
really
it.
interesting. Where? Wait a minute. Pearson. Dee's comment was it was the best collage I've seen in a while. Some judges kind of shy away from collage because I think they feel like it's just, just slap something on there. You all made collages in school. Yeah, they didn't look anything like this. This was precisely cut, precisely glued on there, and not every part is separate, but that phone, and I touched it. That phone was added, the extra arm with the martini glass, the bag, the arm with the bag, that whole stripe thing, and then this extra arm, and even some of the hats were collaged on there, things rearranged. I mean, if you've ever tried to cut paper that cleanly, you know. Wendy?
Thanks for pointing that out, because I could never figure out in a collage, because I don't touch them, what part is collage and what part is whatever.
It's hard to tell sometimes,
Yeah.
and usually you can see a little edge, but it was hard to even find the edges on this one.
Masterful.
Was it painted behind?
No,
Or
it's all paper.
all paper. Wow.
Okay. Pearson. Oh, I already said. Okay.
So last year we had a collage artist too, and it was life-size person.
Yeah.
Remember
Oh, that
that?
one.
Oh, that was great.
Was that
Wallflower.
Best of Show?
Pardon?
No, that wasn't best of show last year.
No.
No.
I forgot which award she got, but that was collage.
Oh,
I mean, that was humongous.
Yeah, it was huge.
She didn't enter this year. Stephanie Pearson. As a child, Stephanie spent countless hours patiently and meticulously cutting out paper dolls. A single image presents itself to her and thus begins the inevitable search for its intuitive companions. This search is kind of a shuffling around of Stephanie's subconscious. When the random imagery is reassembled, the result tells a new story. I do collage. She probably spent more time getting the pieces together than putting it together, because that takes so long.
Finding the right size and the
All
right
the pieces.
everything.
And it's not real big, but it is
No,
just
it's
so good. It's upstairs. If you go to see the show between now and when it closes, it's upstairs.
This is another award of excellence. Were there two award of excellence? Three award of excellence, 3 awards of merit. This is my Foldazzi. It's called the Flying Fish. Found metal objects. He said it was all steel. The image actually here looks better than the image that Dee had to look at on the computer when she was jurying pieces into the show. And it stands, let's say it stands about this tall. And I know, okay, she didn't say anything about it, but I know, secret, it's not really a secret because I'm going to tell y'all, she had this pegged as best of show at first. And then she changed her mind. And she gave it an award of excellence because she felt that the one that did get best of show with the train, that she felt it jived better. She liked them equally, but she felt that maybe it went better with the Mother Lode sort of theme. This definitely, doesn't. But this was really an amazing piece.
So basically, you said it with Mike.
Foldazzi.
Foldazzi. The process is to creatively give cast-off pieces of metal new purpose by altering their form and function. I analyze each piece for shape, texture, and personality. When combined, the individual elements become a cohesive, one-of-a-kind metal sculpture.
He also showed me a picture of a guitar he made out of pieces of metal. I don't know if you could play it, but it was pretty amazing. All right, our 3rd award of merit. Now, when this came in, some of our people went, ew, that's creepy. And it is a little creepy.
We had a whole creepy section.
Yeah, we had a whole little section where we put all the creepy ones. This was by Jeanette Hammerstein called Ketamine Dreaming. It's an oil painting, not real huge, 20 by 24. This also sold, and you can look at the price right there, and it sold. And she was a doctor, right?
Yeah.
The artist is a doctor. And let me just see if I can find this. Hammerstein. Delicate palette really works. It is such a limited, soft, kind of ghostly palette. I assume you can see the skeleton in the background. Okay, so yeah, kind of creepy, but pretty impactful. All right, sorry.
So she's an ER doctor, and she couldn't be at the reception. Probably not only because she lives in Indiana, but because she was saving lives that night. She said, for the last 20 years, I've been a practicing emergency medicine physician in a largely rural hospital in southern Indiana. My perspective as a mother, woman, and physician influenced my art choices. A closer understanding of my own mortality as I navigate, I find again and again, painting is a reassuring place to face fears, unknowns, and seek clarity.
Honorable mention for Polly Laporte, who's going to be our juror for the Switchboard show that we have coming up in January. This is called Yellow Orchids. It's an oil painting. And did this sell?
No.
No.
Not yet.
I've always liked Polly's style because she pretty much just sort of puts on that little dab of paint and stops. And she puts on another dab and stops. And one of my favorite things about this is that she must have done an underpainting of the dark blue, you can tell, and then painted and left a lot of those lines. And I just really, I personally like that about it. There is no comment here from the judge. I just got to put my design knowledge in here. It really keeps bringing you around. It starts in the bottom right. If you start there with that little apple that's got some yellows in it, brings you up through the leaves, around those orchids. Is it orchids or daffodils? It's orchids. I'm all right. And then whatever, that's another vase or something that brings you right back around, and your eye just keeps going round and round. This is such a wonderful, simple composition that just holds the viewer's eye in that painting the whole time. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
So excited.
Well, and I appreciate that there's no foot in it.
There's no foot. Okay.
I think knowing when to stop. She's got that down.
Yeah.
Polly says, I embrace the expressive freedom of loose realism, allowing vibrant colors to take center stage. I focus on capturing the emotional essence of a scene. I invite the viewer to step into a world of rich texture and depth. By balancing the tangible with the expressive, I strive to create work that not only captivates the eye, but also resonates with the mind. And as I think you said, she will be our judge for the switchboard show.
And it's actually juror
Juror,
because we're
sorry.
not judging any of you.
No awards at the switchboard.
Right. Just jury.
Okay, here we go. Another honorable mention by Don Pedersen. It's called Builders, and I didn't get to look at this very carefully when it first came in. I just saw the birds, and he's got a piece of Lego in his mouth, in his beak, and I just thought that was wonderful. When I took a picture of her standing next to her piece, she's got bright red orange hair, and it just looked fabulous standing next to her picture. And, you know, not natural, but gorgeous. And again, just a wonderful composition that brings you up and through the three white flowers, and then the whole thing with the birds kind of almost brings you around in a circle through the painting. It's really nice. And let's see if, where am I? Dawn. Great storytelling was Dee's comment. It's the Builders.
So Dawn says, I intend for the viewer to feel curiosity and empathy for the wildlife in their world so they can live more fully as a participant in their local ecology. I'd like people to see the potential energy in their fellow animals and then the possibility within themselves to protect other species, restore native habitats, and make accommodations for wildlife.
I think I need to take a class in how to write stuff like that.
So are they, it sounds like some of them are writing about their particular painting, but other people, it's just their bio thing? Is that what
This,
that is?
well, sort of.
In cafe and a lot of entry programs, there's a place to write a statement.
Right.
Artist.
There also is a place to write about the specific piece. I chose the more interesting things. Some wrote nothing, some wrote something. So
Right.
and I think the judge sees these statements. They don't see the people's
It's
names.
intimidating to me, that written part.
It's intimidating to me.
There's a lot that don't. I mean, the Magnolias. Victoria, she didn't write anything.
Oh, okay.
She's so confident.
Yeah. I got to interview her daughter, though, who brought the piece in for her. So I learned a lot about it from her daughter.
I think we have another honorable, no.
This
Yes.
is Corey.
Honorable
Lebrun.
mention by Corey Okada called Ghost at the Door. It's an acrylic. I particularly like this piece. It's sort of luminescent. I mean, it really looks like somebody's at your, it's raining outside, and I don't know why. I think she doesn't have any clothes on and she's looking to come in. I don't know why. She's just like, hey. Or she's in the shower looking out going,
I just
come on
noticed
in.
the letters.
There's,
B,
oh,
Yeah.
oh.
B and an O.
And there's another
Oh, there's
upside
more
down
there?
one. There's more.
There's an S.
Oh, there's got to be a
I,
story
C,
behind
and
this.
O.
Well, I had to edit Corey's story because it was way long.
Oh.
And Corey's a male. Where did he go? Oh, the imagery I employ, the figure, still life objects, collage elements, is used in varying manners, literal, symbolic, referential. The intent is an immediate yet subtle visual vocabulary which exhibits an evocativeness.
Evocative? No.
With the ness on the end of it.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
Evokes.
I'm not gonna try. Okay. Emotional, intellectual, and/or physical concerns. Again, I had to edit it, but probably not very well. I kept this in though because I thought it was interesting. His last sentence was aim for grace.
Aim for Grace. Okay. Maybe her name is Grace.
This is a piece that grows on you the more you look at it. When it first came in the door, it did get put in the creepy zone. But the more, well,
Yes,
there
there
really
was a
was,
creepy
even though
zone.
she doesn't know, because there was a creepy
There
zone.
was.
I didn't know.
The runners had a creepy zone, and this ended up in the creepy zone. But the more you look at this, the more you get it. Like, you know, I've looked at this several times and didn't really get the arm going across the top of the head, right?
Oh, yeah.
And the looking through the window. And so the more you look at this piece, the more you see in this piece. And he has a beautiful way with facial features. The lips are wonderful. The eyes are good. And he did a really, really nice job with this. And he was so thrilled to get his award. He sat right next to me, and he was so
He
thrilled.
was so cute.
He was.
All right, this is Placerville Arts First Place by Candace Garlock. And by the way, she's the lady who is running the Honeycomb Project. This is called Terminus and Telos. It's a ceramic piece, and I wish you could see the back side of it because it's just as interesting as what I guess you would consider the front. But there we go. Let me see if I have, these are all mixed up now. Placerville, First Place. Dee said it's very suspenseful. That's all she wrote. Okay.
So Candace had one of those huge long statements, and I can only fit so much on the page.
Closer, a little bit. There we go.
Sorry, I feel like I'm spitting in this thing.
It's okay.
Candace,
Time to
where,
cool.
okay. Telos is an interesting word that describes the end of philosophy in the Bible, references the loss of moral purpose. The two crows sit atop a dystopian structure, one a teacher, the other her student. The red marbles are knowledge of the past that is yet unattainable to the student. Practice, memory, and song continues the story of the road to Terminus, with the little birds as the three muses, or for me, three young students learning to live in a brave new world. Candace is also an art teacher.
Probably a university art
I
teacher.
hope this was in the creepy zone.
This might have been, well, we had to put it on a pedestal so it didn't get to be near the creepy zone. It is a little creepy, but it was really interesting.
It's
Very well done.
actually fairly charming in person. When you see it, you kind of get drawn into it. It's a very interesting piece. I don't know how people make all that stuff up
I know.
about what they do.
I just
though.
want to make a pretty picture. I don't have all that deep stuff in
And I'm
there.
into all this.
I thought this was a painting at first. This was a photograph. It's just lovely. This was her son. This is second place for Placerville Arts. Stanislava Chening, Portrait of a Youth Through Time. She was absolutely over the moon receiving this award for this, I think partly because it was her son, and the judge said that it was haunting. It wasn't creepy, it was just haunting. Okay.
So her statement says, inspired by Botticelli's portrait of a youth, the portrait tells the intriguing story of a secret hand sign used by both the Medici family in the 15th century and the West Side Gang in the 21st century. This gesture symbolizes power and wealth, demonstrating two dominance of both groups.
It could be Medici also.
Medici.
Depends on how you want to say
Yeah,
it.
I thought that was,
Yeah.
I didn't pay attention to this until I read this and then.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And I had to look at this several times when I was building the website to figure out that this wasn't a Renaissance portrait. I'm like, oh, that's a modern day youth, and it's a photograph. That was so interesting to me because the glance at it, and it seemed like portraiture from way back when.
Well, and his facial expression and the lighting and the color on his face and the hand all do kind of harken back to some of those kinds of portraits. I know you love portraits, so you probably recognize that. Okay, here we go. Third place, Placerville Arts. I think we all loved this when it came in. Heidi Murray, it's called Dare I Dream. It's a ceramic piece, and the judge said it was graceful and well glazed. I don't know about you guys, but I love making things out of clay, but the glazes just never look very good. So it's lovely. Go ahead.
Heidi also entered last year and won.
Oh my.
And kind of a funny story, it was sold last year, but it didn't leave the MAC until the day before the reception, this reception.
Oh, really?
We've been enjoying it for a year.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, it was funny, but anyway. Where am I going? Heidi. Dare I Dream captures a moment of quiet introspection where a woman pauses to look into the unknown. This subtle gesture reflects the tension between where she stands and where her dreams may lead. The piece is an exploration of the delicate balance between self-reflection and the courage to imagine something that is beyond what is seen.
Okay. Now, we had two special awards. I think that's where we're going. And I should have brought it's here, but you don't want to listen to it. The Anita Wolf Memorial Award was won by Irina Shawn. This is an oil painting called The Temperatures of Longing. And just Joyce Martin, who a lot of you probably know. She's a very well-known local artist, oil painter. She teaches a lot of painting classes. She sponsors this award she's sponsored it for several years now, to honor the memory of Anita Wolf, who was a painter who painted in oils and pastels, really liked an impressionist style, painted a lot of florals and still lifes, and I believe portraits as well. And so Joyce comes in, once the show is juried and all the pieces are there, Joyce comes in and she chose, I believe, 7 or 8 pieces that she felt would be acceptable for this award. A style or the medium that she said, okay, these can be chosen from. And then the judge comes in and picks one of them. What was I was just gonna say something, but anyway, last year, she could only find one out of our 100 and some pieces that she felt really deserved the award at all. So that was the one that ended up getting chosen. But this is really very traditional, sort of still life, and yet it's got an element, especially in the background, of thicker, more impressionistic paint. It's sort of a combination. It's not that glazed, smooth oil paint, but it looks like something you would see of a Renaissance still life. Go ahead. Sorry. Did she
Don't
say?
be sorry.
Okay, I always take up too much time.
Arena was thrilled to win the award. She actually knew who Anita Wolf was and had bought books about her. So I relayed that information to Joyce, and Joyce has contacted Arena. So
Good,
that's
good.
nice connections. Where am I
I think
going?
we're at the last one.
So Arena is a science major, and she obtained a PhD in physics in 2008 from Purdue University. Her passion for art eventually led her to leaving her job as a silicone engineer and studying in a classic, and I can't pronounce this word, atelier? Atelier, I know it is.
Atelier.
Okay, she practiced that. In the 19th century French academic lineage, her still life arrangements are set up in her North Light studio and painted directly from life.
And last but not least, this is the Matt Sugarman Memorial Award. Matt Sugarman was a park ranger here in Coloma at the Marshall Gold Discovery Site for many years. I wish I had my paper. He's since passed away, but he had a love for the arts. He was not an artist himself, but he loved art that spoke of nature. And so his wife and his daughter, who live in New York, have sponsored this award for the past few years, I think. And the same process where the juror chooses the pieces, and then usually they have to look at them online and, well, wait a minute, yes, they look at them online and pick 5 or 6 or 7 that they think their dad would love, and then the judge in our show chooses the winner. This year, it just happened that the daughter, Elizabeth Kinetz, I think her name was, happened to be in the area and was able to come into the MAC the day of intake and see the pieces in person. You know as well as I do, they look really different in person than they do looking at a little picture online. So not only did they give this award to Steve Haller for his acrylic painting, Oil Cascade, she also bought a piece of art from the show.
Which we may see a little later on here,
Okay,
because I do have the
and-
other pieces.
There is no comment from Dee on this one.
So Steve came up to me at the reception and was thanking us, and was really very honored that he won the award. All he said in his statement was, it represents the natural beauty found in the foothills of Northern California. I send the picture and the name of the artist to the Sugarmans to let them know, and they were thrilled because this was their favorite also.
Oh, good. That's really lovely. We're really sorry that you had to listen to us, because I think Dee might have had some more things to say, but
Did a fine
we
job.
did okay, I guess.
And we've got some more stuff to look at. So
Oh,
let's
we
make
do.
some,
Okay.
look up here.
You know what? One more thing, because I'm going to forget. Did everybody sign in? Did anybody not sign in? That's a better question. Okay, because don't run off at the end, because we have some flowers back there. We're going to choose a number randomly, and whoever's number is chosen on the sign-in list will get the flowers. So don't dash out of here. Okay.
So this is the second piece that was entered by the person who got Best of Show.
Best of Show.
The yellow line piece.
Same size,
Same size.
12 by 12.
12 by 12. And I have given this piece so much thought because of those wires, right? And I have had other photographers pick up my photography and want to edit the wires out. But I think that it's those striations at the bottom that's what makes this piece interesting. Now, when Carolyn's saying she liked the yellow line, I'm saying when this piece came in the door, this one really intrigues me because there's something about those lines across the bottom and then the way the clouds are striating at the top that I think brings continuity to the piece. But I thought that was a very interesting choice of the artist to include those at
Well,
the
without
bottom.
them, it's just another little sunset over the trees, right?
Right,
It's just,
right.
meh.
Right,
Okay.
right. So
That one also got sold. So both of her pieces sold.
right. Oh,
right.
sorry, skipped one. Go
Did you
back.
skip one? Okay.
Yeah, so these are just the other entries that I thought you all might like to see.
Wanted to show you some more that was in the show in case you don't get down there.
Yeah.
So,
Or over to our YouTube channel where
over
you
to
can
the
also see
YouTube channel,
this.
which you can also see.
Sherry's from Salinas, and she shows in Pacific Grove and Monterey a lot.
Then we have a couple of photographs by John Engel. He does photo encaustic mixed
I want to
media.
know what photo, it looks like a photograph with wax over the top. Is that all it is?
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what he does. Last year his pieces were the vertebrae pieces.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. And this year he's given us 2 pieces of doors and walls from travel.
Really interesting, just to take all those rectangles. I mean, there's just a bunch of rectangles, different sizes and shapes and directions, but the composition is just really wonderful. I love it.
And
These
the
are
cobblestones in front are nice
Yeah.
too. They add a lot to it.
These are taken in Cuba.
Cuba, both of them in Cuba.
The next artist that we're going to see here is Pat Stoddard Aragon. She is also one of our members, and she paints in oil, and she really loves the Western theme. She lived in the yeah, there you go, Wyoming for quite a while, but she's now living off the 80 corridor and loves to paint in this theme. We've got red tags here also is another piece. Both of these are large pieces. The next one is an interesting diorama photograph, Norman Aragonis, Food Wars. And I talked to him a little bit about his process, and I said, so did you just get out all your little toys and go get some food and set this up and photograph this? And he said, yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what I did. And first off, it's one of those things where when you get someone young involved, it's always great. And so this is one of the younger people that were had their art in the art show. And while I didn't buy this, I really, really love it. And it's something I've thought about a lot. Because to me, I could just be there having burgers and playing with my superheroes. Then we have one of what was probably the most abstract paintings in the show. And I'll leave it for you all to decide if you like this one or not.
And I think the colors are a little washed out in this photograph. And some people hate this kind of non-objective painting. Some people just go, what is it? But, you know, when you paint like this, you have to think about so many things, your composition, your colors, your contrast, all of those design and composition elements, and balance and unity and all of those things. And like it or not, I have a friend that she'd say, oh, that's not art. I'd say, no, Shirley, you just don't like it. And she said, okay, that's fair. Not you, Shirley, a different Shirley. But yeah, it's hard to take. I mean, you can have a picture in your mind of a landscape or have a photo of a landscape, but you're never going to have a photo of this. It has to come all the way out of your head and get it down on there and play with it until you feel like you've got it right.
This is a sweet last call to the honey bar. And I just think it's fun.
It was fun.
It was fun. And then she had 2 pieces in. The next one is called Family Ties.
Yeah, that one was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I
This
just
one's very
realized that.
interesting in person.
What did you just realize?
That the crow was tied up.
The crow is tied up.
I didn't realize that.
No, S&M.
Hence the family ties, I
Family
guess.
ties, I guess.
Reminiscent of the Best of Show several years ago when we tied things up. Okay.
I don't want her to go on.
I'm
about
not
that.
privy to that.
I had a wonderful conversation with this artist when she came in the door, because one of the things that we did during intake was we talked about the various media that people were using in their pieces. And this was actually one of the most unique. She distills down beer and wine to create these things with. And this piece sold at the reception. And this one is beer, wine, glitter, watercolor, and ink.
My neighbor bought it for her daughter.
And I think she uses tea. I think she said she also uses tea on some of them.
Yeah, I think the next
the
one
next
has
one,
tea
okay.
and ink
Beer,
in it as
wine,
well.
tea, and ink, yeah.
August blueberries. I had to do some work on both of her pieces to get these photographs to show up, because this piece was presented sideways in a frame, and our judge had said she wanted to see in the frame, but this one was really hard to turn into something for the sideshow. So when you guys are entering art shows, keep in mind that especially if you get an award, we may end up, or the show may end up pulling your digital images and make them as easy as possible for the aftermarket production team to work on these kind of things, because this was a really horrible thing I had to straighten
And
out.
take a picture of your stuff before you put it behind glass.
Yeah, oh, that's a big one.
Always.
That's a big one. So this is her other piece. I don't know that this one's sold, but once again, very interesting technique. This one is called Flowers in Vase by Lucille Barnett. It's sold.
She's 94 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I called it Messy Flowers, and I really loved it when it came in. And I said, I would one day like to be able to paint like this. Carolyn thinks I'm crazy, but we all know I am, so it's all okay. She wasn't fond of Messy Flowers, but whoever bought it was fond of Messy Flowers, as am I.
It's heavily textured.
It's
Yeah.
super
Nice, like-
thick.
A lot of texture.
Yeah.
And she came to the reception in her little wheelchair. She was a,
Oh, was that her? I didn't get to meet her.
that was
Oh,
her,
darn.
yeah.
Oh, well.
Tiny little thing.
Waiting for Godot. This one is a cute one in soft pastel. I mean, who doesn't love Three Dogs in a Window?
Gonna.
Godot?
And this
Okay.
is Rita Bartell. She's was
I remember.
I think it was she was an alternate. Got in after the first round, and she was thrilled beyond words. I just love this little piece.
It's a real big deal to get into this show. Kate Blue, Woman Holding a Fan. This is another one of those that harkens back to another day. And this artist benefited from a personal call from me during intake day, because she thought intake was on Saturday and it was actually Friday. So she had to hop out her pajamas and get on over. There were about half a dozen artists that had a little problem. This next one continues to kind of haunt me it's interesting. It's just, I like the style, I like the color. Tahoe Enchantment by Victoria Brooks. Some people might prefer her other piece, which is kind of a portrait, and it's called Transparency. I'm assuming because of the transparency of the scarf.
Yeah, that one was.
Now, this next one is a photograph.
Wow.
This
And-
was the one that the Sugarmans purchased to give to their mom. Elizabeth
Elizabeth.
Kinnetz bought for her mother when she was here.
And she doesn't have it yet, so don't tell anybody.
Oh, don't.
Oh, right, it's a secret, and we won't
With
put
the cat
that on
on
the
the bag.
recording. Oh my God, I hope she doesn't watch this. Okay, this is really interesting. This technique, I had the opportunity to talk to the photographer about this, and what she does is she fills an aquarium with water. The aquarium has a reflective back on it. She dropped the flower down into the water in the aquarium, and then she dropped dye in on top of that. So you see the pink dye swirling around, and then she photographs it as it's happening. And so it's a very interesting photographic technique.
So Lynell, is the pink flower behind the reflection of the white flower?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was just
And the
flower.
dye, the pink dye that she's put in there is
swirling around.
Yeah, projecting back onto the back of that. So absolutely fascinating what Barbara does with her technique. And she calls it from the series Submerged. And so this is giving you a clue that she's doing photography underwater using this aquarium so she can see through it. I thought I turned that off.
Was the first thing I said.
I did turn it off, and I don't know why that got through.
She could have had it professionally photographed.
Oh, okay.
The next one is Cleaning the Garage by Karen Burns. Karen Burns does a lot of work where she will set up scenes and then work from the above view on the screen. She had a Best of Show a couple years ago.
A couple years ago with some pewter, there was a lot of pewter pieces, I think, and interesting cast shadows. She's going to be our judge for the April members show.
And then we have Chinese Zodiac. This was an amazing, interesting piece. You notice the size of that. That is 4 feet by 6 feet.
And each one of these is a panel.
Each little, what were they, 6 inches? 4 inches.
4 inches wide.
4 inches wide, and they were hung great.
And they took about an hour and a half to 2 hours to unpack because they were shipped.
Yeah, and now we're going to have to
So
pack
they're
them
not
back.
tight together?
No.
No,
So
each
they
one
could
is
be
separate.
hung totally one at a time if you wanted. And she even sent a sketch of, here's how I want them, the order I want them in. So,
Because it is the Chinese Zodiac represented by the 12 individual pieces representing, each one of those represents one of the Zodiac signs.
She entered 5 pieces and they were all humongous like this. She only got this one in, but.
And then we have An Old Man by Yen Qing Chang, charcoal and charcoal pencils, really nice work.
I think this was the only graphite or charcoal piece. I don't recall any others, but it's very nicely done.
It was the only one entered, but there were others. It was the only one accepted. There were others entered,
okay.
yes.
Very nice.
Here's another photograph, Neo Deco Muse, and she's got to have put a few things together on this one, I would think. But I didn't talk to her about it, so I don't know for sure.
This is the same woman who won the award with the young man with the cap on with his hand here. I definitely like the other one better. This looks like a painting to me. That woman's got a lot of makeup on her face otherwise. I don't know. Yeah, some of it's kind of hard to believe that that was part of a
Like combination
photograph.
of digital and.
Yeah, it could be, what do they call it?
Digital collage,
Yeah,
maybe?
could be.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to go by what they tell us.
Right, right. But there's some technique going on here that's just not a simple photograph.
We can ask her when she picks it up.
Yeah.
And you guys may have picked up on this, but it almost takes more than a simple photograph. Like the one photograph that got an award was the young man at the baseball cap, and that was technique that got that. Then we see things like the photograph with soft pastel also getting an award.
Flowers in the
The
aquarium.
flowers in the aquarium. So photography has moved beyond the point and shoot brownie, what we get on our cell phone.
It can't
Takes-
just be a snapshot.
it takes more than that to get in a show like this. Next one is a watercolor by an artist called William Cleveland. William is an older fellow that was a teacher for many, many years. And when he brought this piece in, he started getting a little impatient with the process of the check-in. And I reminded him that he was surrounded by beautiful older women and to just calm down. And he did calm down a bit. And interestingly enough, I collected his piece last year that was in the show. So I have a piece of his work, but it was acrylic last year, not
She
watercolor.
did say she collected it. She walked off with it.
I'm pretty sure Cheryl made me pay for it.
I think
Yeah,
maybe
I
you
think she did. Next piece is a bit of fabric art that made the show. This one's called Indian Summer by Kathleen Cooper. And I think it shows really nicely in the photograph, maybe even better than in person, because you get a lot of highlights on the colors of the fabric. But this was an interesting piece. And at the Mother Lode show, we try to do a broad range of things. We want guys that come in that aren't interested in art to be able to appreciate what's going on in the show. And then things like this, we are trying to actually court the Quilt Guild to perhaps enter some more of their wall hanging type pieces into our regular member shows so that we get a little bit more diversity in what we're showing. The next piece is by Susan Cooper. This is digital art. Susan uses Procreate to create. She'll start with a blank canvas and sometimes pull a photograph in, sometimes not, and does this digital work. And this piece in person is, I think, even better than the photograph. Don't you think, Donna? Mm-hmm. Donna really liked this one when it came through the door. Susan was a presenter for us last year. Okay, the next one's kind of funny. Some people just love Patrick's work, but I'm like thinking that, okay, this is irrigation baffles and a well house and a windmill, right? And so to me, what's not in the picture is all the cannabis growing up in the field in front of it here. But he cropped all of that out and just went with what's behind it. And so that was an interesting piece from Patrick. And then he had a second one in the show, which is County Road 103. And I think that Cheryl Gleason said this was her absolute favorite piece in the show.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Some people really love this one. I think what's wonderful about art is we all are drawn to different things, and that's what makes creating art and being involved with art so super good. We've got Fields of Gold by Trina Craig. It's an oil painting.
This one's coastal.
Coastal Stand. Sorry, she had two, and I was reading off the other one.
We're losing them.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm trying to speed up.
Okay.
Should we draw for the flowers before everybody goes?
Just kind
Now
of
this one's
go
Field
through
of Gold. This one is called A Deep Breath by Susan Cunningham, not related to Carolyn Cunningham. And this is one of the more abstract pieces in the show. Then we have a Carolyn Cunningham piece here, a colored pencil piece, which is always amazing to me what Carolyn does with colored pencils. Great reflection in this piece. I did not buy this piece, but I have to tell you it's one of my favorite pieces in the show because I'm kind of nuts. This is an oil painting, and this artist said that she was trying to get her girlfriend to go pose on the rocks, and she couldn't quite get her girlfriend out there to do it. But the girlfriend's husband said, "I'll go!" And she caught him in this kind of pose right here, and then she painted him. But I just think it's super precious and great that he was willing to be a good sport about it. Here is another, this isn't charcoal, but it's ink, so another black and white, and it's a pointillist landscape tree. This artist has a second piece, very different in feel to the first one because he's using colored pencil here, and he's got all this fire with the butterflies, which is very interesting. This piece should be seen in person. Shadow Dance. One of the portraits by Ann Edwards. Lizard by Beth Enos. Okay, has anybody seen the lizard
Yes,
here?
yes.
What am I looking at?
It's this thing.
No, it's not.
Isn't it? Oh, here it is. But see, look, here's a lizard too. There's a lizard and a butt. Look, there's a butt.
There is a butt in there. I will say that. And thank you.
That was for Emily.
Because I have been trying to see that lizard now for several weeks, and I keep seeing the rock, and
I
I'm
see the
like,
lizard.
oh no, that can't be it. Thank you for pointing it out.
So I didn't see the lizard until, because Eric took a close-up picture of that lizard, and I recognized Beth's style. I said, "That's Beth's picture." He goes, "Yeah." I go, "I thought the lizard was the thing up there too."
I thought it was too, because it looks like.
Thank
a
goodness
Gila
we got
monster.
this far in the slideshow, because I wasn't going to be able to sleep. All right, this is good. All right, this is the husband. They both do photography. This is Aspen. And I thought what was interesting about their entries was that they went with black and white this year, because this is another one called The Gorge by Will Enos.
That's all they are specifically black and white.
Yeah. And then this is an interesting one showing full moon over the Sierra buttes, not butts, I
Not
guess.
butts, buttes.
And I like the way he did the time-lapse photography on this to catch it as it moves across the sky. And once again, here we have a photograph, but there's something extra that created more interest than just the moon in one place here. Taking the time lapse and putting that into the photo really makes that jump. Then we have Hollyhock Rock, an oil painting, which I thought was a very nice painting. Then we have Sunny Day by our artist Michael Fricci, a small oil. I did buy this one. Here's the thing, I met Michael at the county fair this year. He was in the novice category, and after we hung his work, I'm like, buddy, you're not a novice and you don't ever get to be a novice again. And so I'm really taking advantage of the man by buying his work while it's $175, because it is, trust me, going to go up. And I don't mean that the value of this painting is, but next time you're going to try to buy a Michael Fricci, it's not going to be $175.
Although he does try and make his work very affordable. That's one of his goals.
Well, good. And then we have Peonies in a Turquoise Kettle. It's another soft pastel work. And Tatiana has done a wonderful job here. I actually like this one, though, a little bit better, the Freedom Roses.
Isn't it gorgeous?
It's just yummy. And the way that she's taken the reflections and streaked them, and then the reflections in the vase, it's wonderful. Wonderful. And then artist in the room, here is Matt Harling's triptych acrylic ink and watercolor piece, Wandering Among the Redwoods. And then he had a second piece in the show, which is Redwood Meditation 2. Some people say they do get dizzy looking up at this one, but it is a beautiful piece. Good work, Matt. And then we have Decisions by Cynthia Hayes in soft pastel. Who doesn't love a dog in the water? Leonard James is a nature photographer, also a member of our group. And this is Jacobin, which looks like a hummingbird to me.
It's
Maybe
probably
that's a
Jacob.
type of-
Yeah, it's a hummingbird.
It's a hummingbird?
just
It's a
special
type of
kind, I
hummingbird?
guess. Yeah, it must be.
Okay, must be.
that's
Looks
a
like a
hummingbird.
hummingbird, flies like a hummingbird, must be a hummingbird. Elemental Fabrication, cast iron and brass. Okay, so here we have this big burly guy, very tall man, walking in carrying his little yarn ball and knitting needles. And you're just wondering where the heck in his mind this came from.
And it's heavy.
It is heavy,
It's heavy.
heavy, heavy.
And it's real size. It's not
Yeah.
big. It's true to a ball of yarn.
Little yarn ball coming in the gallery, and it's like, okay, there we are.
Three more.
Yeah. Then Kathy Kyle. Whoa, did you see that? Her little giraffe. And then Not for Sale. We could have sold this 6 times.
Yep.
Mortimer by Kathy Kyle. We have Queen Genevieve by Deborah Kelly. I don't know if you guys know her, but she's an assemblage artist. This is another photo. Purple and Green Aurora by Corinne Knight. Corinne told me that she had to work so hard with the printer. This was printed on canvas. And she had to work so hard with the printer to get this print to come out like what it was when she took the photograph. She said it was a tremendous amount of work to get that to
believe
happen.
this one sold, didn't it?
I did. Jeannie Parker bought it.
Okay.
Never underestimate the power of red shoes. This is an assemblage piece, a couple of feet tall. Deborah Crack Harnish does wonderful stuff. She's got a second piece in the show.
And she has a little story with each one of them, which
Yeah.
is so cute.
Then we have Rebecca Lamley, one of our members. I don't think she's in the room
No,
today.
she's
This is called Tuscany Brass, an oil piece. This is coming up is Polly Laporte's second piece in oil. Next piece didn't actually make the show, and I haven't substituted out. This artist, Carolyn Lewis, had a portrait that made it to the show. This one was also accepted, but it didn't make it to the show. Here's another example of photography, the horse in motion, a nice capture shot with that. This large piece, 40 inches by 30 inches, is another one of those pieces that you really need to see in person. The flowers just jump off the canvas at you. then we have Dave Manusso's piece, Rosalind, circa 1967. He was so proud and cute when he walked into the gallery with this piece. He was just adorable. Next one is called Surrender. It's an interesting piece.
That's about all we're gonna say about it.
Well, I mean, you know, I probably don't want to hang it in my living room, but if I was collecting right now this type of art, I might collect that.
You know what, why don't we do this? Keep going.
Okay.
Let's see. Donna, you brought the flowers, thank you. We have 27 names on the list. Pick a number, 1 through 27. Yes, you.
14.
14. Jean Stiles, you
Oh,
get the flowers. Woo! Okay, you are welcome. I mean, it's 4:30, almost. Well, from here it looks like 4:30. Sit and enjoy, or don't. Go get some more food because we don't want to take it all home. Thank you for coming. And if you have any questions for any of us, let us know. All right. Woo! Kitty cat. All right. Thank you.
Now, are these all on the site?
They're all on PAA.gallery, and they're also on our YouTube channel. This slideshow has been automated, so you can run it again on our YouTube channel.
Thank you, guys.
Everybody, thanks for coming.
See you.
Good job, Sue.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
We are because our speaker has not arrived yet. So you might be looking at pictures and listening to what we have to say. Hang on one second. I want to just make sure she's not standing right there. No, not yet. Okay, then I'm going to do some. That means I'm going to take care of some business that would have come at the end, and hopefully Ms. Neath shows up before we're done today. So welcome. If you can, please silence your phones so we don't have phones ringing during the meeting. That would be really nice. And some quick reminders. Well, I don't know if they're going to be quick. I want to say thank you to Roberta, Marilyn, Donna, Sue, because they stepped up today and helped with the snacks. Because we lost our hospitality person, and we always want to have goodies for you. So we didn't lose her. I know where she is. She's not at work. But anyway, I just wanted to say thank you. We've got lots of good goodies. Then a reminder: there is no meeting in December, no board meeting, no member meeting, but we do have our holiday party coming up in December. Our holiday party, I have it written here somewhere, is December 6th at Sportsman's Hall in Pollock Pines, and it's at 10:30 in the morning. There is still room, so if you are interested, and I got Jean's name on the list today, if you're interested, you can tell me today later, or you can contact our real vice president, Kathy Kyle, either by phone or by email. So come and join us, it'll be lovely. In January and February, oh, now I can see you guys, but I can't see the paper. Oh, there we go. In January and February, our meetings will be the second Monday rather than the third Monday because of Monday holidays on the second Mondays. So remember that. A reminder to renew or join PAA for 2025. And let's see, I know, I had to scribble all kinds of stuff here. Oh, if you've never been here before and you've never signed the waiver that we require, or that the senior center requires, there are some waivers up here. Basically, it's just saying if you trip and fall and break your neck, they're not responsible, or whatever. So we like to have those on file. So if you haven't done one, make sure you do one. We also do have membership forms up here, and our membership basically Roberta's our membership person, but Jerry likes to take your money, so who knows, see one of them. For the holiday party, there's a lady in the back, I think that's Shirley. Shirley, is that you? Do you already have enough people for music, for singing?
I have about maybe 5.
Do you need any more? If you want to talk to, if you love to sing, see Shirley.
The more the better.
The more the merrier, unless it's me, because you don't want to hear me sing. Okay. Let's see, we're going to move to the stuff that I would have done later. The January challenge for our meeting is let the blanks do the talking, which means nothing to you unless you looked at the back of the room on the table. We have a whole bunch of wood items and some metal things that were donated. They were originally for toll painting projects. They are all available for you to take one that just sort of floats your boat and do something to it. It can be paint, can be collage, you can mosaic on it, you can, I don't know, hack it up and repurpose it somehow. But we're going to present those in January on our meeting, and I believe the woman who donated them wants to come and see what we all did with them. So
The daughter of the artist will be here.
the daughter of the artist, okay. The holiday party I already talked about. We have 2 board openings. Don't hide your faces. The hospitality, as I said, we lost our hospitality person. Hospitality takes care of organizing the goodies for the meetings. They also help with receptions at our member shows and the Mother Lode show and any other receptions that we have during the year. It could possibly be a shared responsibility, but you'd have to work, if we get just so many people volunteering, we'll figure out how we're going to share that. So we're looking for somebody to take that on.
And that's a board level position, seat on the board.
It's a seat on the board, so you get to put in your 2 cents worth every time we meet and all other times. Another board opening, and we've had this on the newsletter for months and months. We're looking for someone to help coordinate special events. Right now, Linnell, who does many other things, has been running our special events. This could be a committee type of activity. And just so you know, some things that special events involves, and Linnell is heavily involved in all of these. We have a switchboard gallery show coming up, which Linnell will talk about. Burke Junction in summer of 2025. A plein air event at Greenstone at the end of April. That's going to be a competition, I guess we'd call it. The Harris Center Gallery is a special event, and the County Fair, although I think Linnell just kind of likes to hang on to that for, oh, she's shaking her head. So those are the kinds of things that we call special events. They're over and above our meetings, they're over and above our member shows. So speaking of member shows, the spring member show coming up in April, we have a dates April 7th through 11th. It will be a media-based show like we did last spring, so I'm not going to go through all the media because I will forget, but there will be oil category, acrylics, water media, pastel and drawing, and I know I'll forget something, so look on the website, look at the newsletter. There's no information yet, but probably after the first of the year. And we already have a judge, Karen Burns. You may know some of her work. She has agreed to be our judge. To get a judge this early is fabulous. Let's just hope she's still around. She doesn't move away or anything. All right, Mother Lode Show runs through November 23rd, which is next Saturday, until 4 o'clock. It's at the MAC in Rancho Cordova. It's a fabulous show. If you haven't gone to see it, well, you're going to see the winners today, but I think you might want to see the rest of the show. The MAC is open Thursday through Sunday.
Not Sunday.
Oh, Thursday through
Saturday.
Saturdays.
Thursdays 2 to 7, Friday 2 to 7, Saturday 11 to 4. And if you can't make it those days, call Cheryl at the MAC and you can make an appointment and have the whole gallery to yourself Tuesday or Wednesday.
It's pretty fun. All right. I was reminded by Kathy Kyle that we are always taking suggestions from our members for recipients of our outreach funds. We've kind of exhausted the local schools, and we gave to Boys and Girls Club. We've given to, I forget now, I can't think because I'm not in charge of it, just reading. So.
We have 2 nominees so far
Two
for next
nominees,
year.
it was more
More
rehabilitation.
and Images of Hope.
Images of Hope. So we're going to, and it's art related. It isn't just throw some money at them. It is to be used for art activities. It was the Otter Creek School that we gave last time, and they were, their school had burned down and all their stuff was gone, and they were thrilled. So if you have any ideas, let us know. Also, I was reminded to tell you to check out Placerville Art Association's YouTube channel, because our president spends a lot of time putting stuff up on there, so we want somebody to go look at it. Let's see, what have I forgotten besides? Okay, I'm going to ask Sue to talk about honeycomb. I'm going to ask Linnell to talk about switchboard, and then I'm going to ask Matt to come on up and talk about the studio tour. Oh, okay, I'll get there. Okay. I know you came to see something else, but we're gonna get there. I promise. We're gonna look at it. Okay, Sue? I may just keep the speakers up. Can't believe she's not here.
Okay, the honeycomb project. This is the honeycomb substrate. The honeycomb project came to us through Candace Garlock, who's one of the winners. You'll see her piece in a minute.
Maybe a little closer. Is she in the speaker or no?
Can you hear me
Okay,
now?
there you go.
Honeycomb substrate. If any of you are interested, let me know. This is a project that is scheduled right now out to 2027. And it's where groups and single individuals take a honeycomb substrate. PAA will provide one per member. And I'm trying to remember all this, which I'm not doing very well because the Honeycomb Project is a metaphor for the interconnectedness, collaboration, and strength found within a community. But people are doing everything on these. One person that we saw on Instagram, she did a leather tooled clock on this. So, and some groups are doing maybe six people are doing 6 honeycombs, and when you put them together, you get a whole piece different from the separate pieces. So this, we need to commit to what we've committed already as a group by February 1st. Sorry, I am very scattered today.
It's okay.
Sue is our Mother Lode Show chair, so she is in the middle of her big event and now trying to manage her next project as well.
You know,
So
can they read it on the website?
You can read it in the newsletter. I have information here. We will need your finished piece by the June meeting. It has to be to Candace in Sparks, Nevada by August. So we're giving us enough time to be able to get up there and do that. I had written it somewhere, and I don't know where to put it, but the show is scheduled in 3 places in Nevada. The last place will be Las Vegas in 2027, and there's a big gap of space, of time in there, so Candace is going to work on where else this show can go. And hopefully, the MAC will be one of the places. Cheryl's looking into that. So this could be hundreds of these little pieces all around the wall. It's going to be at a school in Truckee. I can't remember the second place, and then there's some space. When the show is done traveling, if you want your piece back, you'll work with Candace to get that back, or you can, I don't know what she's going to continue to have it go, move on to other places. Also, each artist, I'm pretty sure each artist can write a little description about themselves and about their piece, and that will be going in a book. Right now she's publishing things online as they come in. So as you work on your piece, take some pictures, send them to me, and then I'll send them to Candace.
So there's going to be no charge for you to enter this if you enter with our group.
Yeah.
As Sue said, we'll provide you with 1 honeycomb that's pre-wired on the back because they're damn particular about how they wanted these things wired.
As they should be.
Right, because the idea is that they're going to be able to hang flat against the wall and adjacent to one another. So you notice that the orientation of this puts the point to the top and the square sides like that. So this is what you're gonna be painting towards.
Or collaging, or mosaicing, or
Creating
blinging.
towards. I'm gonna
Anything you
do,
want on it.
give me this as an AI and I'm gonna slap it on there. Whatever you wanna do. And so no charge to you, no charge for shipping as long as we get them. I think it's gonna be actually by our July member meeting, because I think we're gonna do it for our July challenge, but we could do it as June. So stay tuned, that could change.
Yeah, because our July meeting, we only have 2 weeks between then and to get it to Candace. And
Right,
I'm
right.
thinking field trip.
But I love FedEx Ground, so
Okay.
we're not gonna worry too much
All
about
right.
only having 2 weeks, because FedEx Ground can do it for us.
That's
So
fine.
we're gonna take care of getting it to Candace for you. When it comes back, we're also gonna get Candace to ship it back to us, because I'm gonna give her a prepaid label to do that, to get it back to us. So you'll be able to pick your pieces back up at one of our meetings,
If you
or
want them back.
if you want them
I
back.
think if you don't, it might travel on.
It could, and so,
Yeah.
and it could be a long time that it's out there, so
Yeah.
it could be several years. And they're encouraging a nature theme. They also have a print orientation in that, what is it called?
They're in connection. The project is open to artists working in the region connected to the Rocky Mountains. That's us. The entire project will first be shown, Reno, sorry. Where is it?
They would like some kind of printmaking process.
Printmaking, that's it, that's what they were
But
saying.
it's not,
required.
it's not required.
Not required.
And people like, I'm thinking about Sherry Lynn Morris and maybe Donna, who are thinking about how they're gonna put bling all around. It has to stay within the confines of the hexagon. Is that a hexagon or octagon?
Because they match up.
And it can't be any deeper than a half an inch sticking out from the surface of the piece. So, yeah, half an inch,
huh,
Donna, sorry.
Control
I
yourself.
have brochures if you're interested, just come see me later and
Oh, okay, and the reason that everybody's rushing is because we never have enough time for our announcements, or as Matt Harling prefers to call them, notifications.
don't say
And so we're used to rushing, but we don't have anything other than our judge talking to us today from the Mother Lode show, or those of us who know more about what the judge might have said if she was here, making shadow puppets. So we can talk a little slower.
yeah, sorry. And I'm
We're
not
just
good-
used to needing to
Yeah,
get it
hurry,
in
hurry,
before we
hurry.
have to get out of the room.
And I'm not great at talking in crowds. Talk to me in person. I'll talk
doing
your ear off.
You're doing fine.
So that's the honeycomb project.
Okay,
See
honey.
me.
When do we get them?
Today we have them. We got
Oh.
18 wired.
I have some people who've pre-signed up. They get them first, and then if you want them, we have enough.
And then,
See me and I'll write your name down. Keep
okay,
track.
so we'll order more then, right?
If we
If we
use them
run
all,
out.
we'll order more, and I'll wire more.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I don't know how many people I
Roberta?
have right now.
Do any of these, are these for sale, or is it all just,
Oh, when they go out to the,
I'm gonna ask Candace that this week. I don't know. I thought about that question this morning and I thought I can't deal with it at the time, so I'm still dealing with Mother Lode artists. So, I'll ask. I think it's probably just an exhibit that goes around and when it's done, and if you want it back, you can get your piece back or not. So, I'll ask her though.
Sometimes I'm just grateful for them to go away forever.
Yeah. And I mean, she invited PAA because she heard that we were an awesome organization. So that was nice.
Which is true, we are.
Yeah, it's true.
speaking of awesome,
Okay.
and now would you
Oh,
like
it's
to
my
talk
turn?
about switchboard?
Sure.
I'm not moving that camera, so you gotta make sure you're where it's
We need
pointing.
next.
I don't really think we need to worry about me being on camera.
Yes, we do. You always tell us we have to, so.
All right, so we have a special show coming up in January. We were invited to participate with Arts and Culture El Dorado at their Switchboard Gallery, which is at 525 Main. And we have a show that will be 1 month long. There are details right now on Placerville Arts website, and you can check out the full prospectus there. You can enter 1 to 3 pieces into a juried show. The entry fee is $35 total for up to 3 pieces. You can only enter 1 time, so make it count. The entries will be taken in on Entry Thingy, so you will need photos of the work that you're putting into the show. And our juror for the show is Polly Laporte. She's an artist that grew up here in Placerville. She currently lives in Sacramento. And Polly started out as an artist in Placerville that attended the Sugarloaf Art Camp. She became an instructor at Sugarloaf, and she was also the director of the camp for a while. And what's exciting about this show is any gallery commissions from sales of the art will go to benefit the Sugarloaf Art Camp. So our judges met behind that. There will not be awards. It will just be juried into the show. We can accept 30 pieces of 2D art in the show, 15 pieces of 3D art that fits on 15-inch pedestals, and we also have room for 3 pieces of floor-standing 3D art, not to exceed 36 inches wide and no more than 7 feet tall. So if any of you do those large 3D works, this will be our first opportunity to show something like that. And I'm really excited about that. So if anybody has any questions about that show, you can talk to me about it. Entries will be open through November and December and into the first week of January. The deadline is, I think, Monday, January 5th or 6th, whichever that Monday is. And then you'll be notified if your piece is accepted into the show. We'll try to get 1 piece in from every entering artist before we accept a second piece from any entering artist. And we'll try to make it go as far as we can with the size of the gallery. It's a fairly small gallery. Any questions at this time on that? Yes,
I know when you talked about entering shows before, and I've never entered into a show before. I've got some pieces that I actually really like from a long time ago that I'm
Good
proud
question.
of. Some of the newer
Excellent
stuff I
question.
like.
There's no limitations on this show because it's our first one at the Switchboard Gallery.
Okay.
So you can have created your art anytime. It doesn't have to be in the past 2 years, and it can have been entered in previous Placerville Arts Association shows. So no restrictions whatsoever on that type of entry.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, good question. Anything else? Okay, read the prospectus. It's all covered. Don?
What is the commission to the gallery that they're going to give?
30%, so be sure and take that into account with what you're pricing your stuff at. And you can also have 1 piece in your entry that's not for sale. But if you're going to enter 3 pieces, 2 of them need to be for sale. But if you're only going to enter 1 piece, it can be not for sale.
That it?
Anything else? Okay.
Matt? We're gonna finish with Matt, then we're gonna take a vote.
One more question.
Yeah.
You
Well,
talked about 30 pieces of 2D, the art is a large piece,
I don't know if we should
probably prohibit
break and then
the
do
jury
it, or
selection?
do it and-
Maximum size is
Let's
36
break for
inches.
15
Okay.
minutes And then do it, and we still will get out of here early.
Yeah, 36 in any direction.
We both can.
You're probably wondering why someone would be up here in November talking about a studio tour that is going to happen next September. Well, it takes a lot of work to organize and prepare for the studio tour. And we want to so we have some goals for the studio tour for this next year. I don't know what the maximum number of artists that they've had participate in the past, what their record was, but we'd like to go for 45 artists. We had 39 this last year. We'd like to have 45. We had 11 studios this last year. We'd like to have 15 studios. We want to expand and really get more people involved in this. And this is something that can't be done by 1 or 2 people, getting it all organized. And I foolishly have volunteered to be the chair for the studio tour this year.
Just say no, Matt.
And the co-chair is back here egging him on.
The coach, Wendy Scarlett, is my co-chair. And I have 2 other assistants. I have Michael Fritschy, did I pronounce that right?
Itchy. Rhymes with itchy.
And I have Nina Major. Both Wendy and Nina were big help for the last tour. And we have we're excited to be able to do this again. It will be the last weekend of September, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And like I said, we have some goals that we want to be able to do. And there's some things that we're going to do to kind of help expand or to entice more people to come and see us. Because that's really what this is all about. There are two things that I think our objectives are. One is to get lots of people to come and see our art, to visit us in our studios, and to get exposure to some great art. The other is to sell some art, or to sell a lot of art. We'd like to be able to encourage all of that, and that's going to mean we need to have advertising, not just in Placerville, but expanding out into all of El Dorado County, out into Sacramento County, into Placer County, and get people aware of this tour. We'd also like to get some sponsors from our local businesses, restaurants, some of our Apple Hill farms, other art galleries or other things, other organizations in the area that can help us to have brochures and to really push, or let me put it a better way, invite people to come see our art in our studios. Last year we tried something of an art giveaway. Anytime you signed in at a studio, you were entered into a drawing. So at the end of the tour, Linnell did a great job. You do too much.
She does.
Linnell ran our drawing. She's got a random number generator that she's technically pretty smart. But we had 19 pieces that artists donated that people were able to select which piece of art they wanted to take away after signing up. And every studio that they went to, they got a new entry into that drawing. So if you went to all 11 studios, you had 11 chances. Actually, the most that anyone went to was 7 studios. We had 3 people that went to 7 studios this last time. We should give them a special prize. So I mentioned we want to have sponsors to help get us advertising, and actually if there's any other ideas that you might have that would help us get more people into more of our studios, I'd love to hear about them. This is a lot of work, and I like the saying that goes, many hands make light work. And I don't want anyone to feel like they're overburdened. But that does mean that we need to have a lot of people do a little bit of work. Some of the things that we need someone's, because this is a big job, that has graphic design capabilities and the tools to be able to do it, to help us with a brochure and other advertising things. And that doesn't mean you have one person to do all of that. We need several people to do all of that. We need people with computer skills that can help with updating the web page. The web page is already, I've been doing the web page for the last 4 years, and I think it's a good structure. You just need to be able to update things. You don't have to start from scratch. We need someone to help with recruiting sponsors, or someone's. All of these could be multiple people. We need people to create advertising copy. Someone to help with writing articles for the Mountain Democrat or other places that can be more than just an ad, but an article that can go into the Sacramento Bee or wherever. It'd be nice to be able to get contact with TV stations and radio stations, NPR or local TV stations, to say, let's get someone out here to do some video or spots on those things. It's important that we have signage out so people can find us. and helping our studio hosts know where's the best place for them, kind of coordinate. Where do we put these signs so that people can find the tour and go from place to place? We've got lots of brochures that we want to be able to distribute, and we want to have a good plan for distributing them. It's all about lots of people helping out. And like I said, we want to have 45, I'd love to be able to have 50 artists that participate. How many people are in PAA?
220.
220 artists in PAA. You'd think that there'd be 50 of us out there that could participate. And like to get lots of studios too.
Don't you have a planning meeting coming up?
That was the next thing
Oh,
I was gonna
sorry,
say.
I just
I was
jumped in.
trying to be patient until you finished.
We are going to have our first planning meeting, which is really gonna be focused on people showing up and talking about what they specifically can do to help with the tour. There are several other things. We'll have information about the tour dates and things like that. And we anticipate that we will have applications for participating in the tour available at the next PAA meeting in January. And we're going to get this kicked off. We're actually going to be also moving up the deadline for submitting applications to it was June 1st was the deadline. It's going to be May 1st now. We're going to just like we did this last year, if you submit early, a month earlier than if you submit by, what's that, April 1st, then it's one price, and then after that, price goes up by 20, that last month. If you wait that long, it'll go up by $25. So let's, it actually helped to get us our applications in early. We're going to do the same thing again this year. We've got a lot of work to do once we get the applications in to get the brochure made and the website set up and all that other stuff. So that's what we're doing. So Wednesday at noon at the Rayleigh's on Placerville Drive in the community conference room, whatever they call that room there. It's
Back of the store between
back
the
of
dairy cases.
yeah, back of the store between the dairy cases. And we will also have Zoom available if you need to stay at home or can't get there. We'll have Zoom available for you. Any other questions? The Zoom information, I believe, is on the webpage. It went out. It went out.
Shirley's got a question.
How did the, having it consecutively the 3 days as opposed to 2 weekends, was that a lot better? I mean, did it work better that way?
Actually, there's one benefit for the artists is that you set up once, and you take it down once, and you don't have to worry about what's going to happen in that week between the weekends. I was concerned that how many people are going to be coming on a Friday. I was very surprised at how many people came on Friday. There were actually a lot of people that came to my studio on Friday, and I think others had similar experiences. There are some that didn't have as good of a turnout, but year to year it's always going to be different. But I don't know about others, but like I said, I was really surprised. Friday morning, people started coming, it just blew me away.
Anything else?
Yes.
Yeah, does an artist have to be there all 3 days?
The question was, does the artist have to be there all 3 days? This weekend.
Does the artist have to be there all 3 days? So let's do this 3 times. It really is important that when we create a brochure to keep it as simple as possible. And I've seen brochures that have this key that says, this artist is here on Monday, on Friday and Saturday, but not on Sunday. This artist is here on Saturday. It's really confusing. And I had a friend of mine who once said, a confused purchaser or visitor will just say no.
True.
And it's better to have it simple. So we would like to, in our application it says you have to be there all 3 days. Yes, Wendy.
But that wouldn't necessarily preclude that if you were on a hosted site, and for some reason the artist, I don't know if this is true, help me with this, if an artist couldn't be there but their partner artist would be willing to oversee their artwork, is that a problem?
So I know a year ago, one of the artists that was sharing at my studio got COVID. And there was no way she was going to be, we really didn't want her. She wasn't feeling well, so we sold some of her stuff for her. She had it all set up. She had come to my studio on Monday before the Saturday had started, and by Wednesday she said, "I'm sick," and I go, "Oh, great." I've been exposed, but I tested myself several times and we're clear, but we can do that. And I know there was an artist this year who had some things that came up that he wasn't able to be there, and we had him in the brochure, but things happen.
So what if something doesn't happen? Because I can see situations where there are certain people that practice their religion on Friday evenings, and there are other people that practice their religions on Saturday, and there's some people that practice their religions on Sunday. If those people were to find amenable hosts that would be willing to cover for them on those days, would that be acceptable to the organization?
That would be acceptable to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it would be acceptable to me as president, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And on that note, anybody that's here that's thinking about participating in the tour, there are some of us that really don't have suitable studios for people to come out to, by virtue of parking or location. And so if there's anybody here that has a studio that is suitable for more than one artist, we would really like to encourage hooking up artists with studios. The more the merrier. And it really makes for a lovely, it's not so lonely when you're trying to sell your artwork when you're in good company. So think about that.
And I do think it's also important that we have artists in Camino. I don't know if people would go all the way up to Pollock Pines, but if there are artists in Pollock Pines that want to show up there, that would be great. We have artists in Shingle Springs, in Greenstone, and Roy is all the way up almost to Lotus.
Lotus, way out.
So-
I'd like to do it in Cameron Park too.
We could do that.
Good.
Like I said, I want to be able to reach out to, at least for visitors to come to our studios all the way into Sacramento. I know I put a bunch of brochures in the Crocker Art Museum and at Blix Art on Howe Avenue, and University Art as well, but University Art is no more. But if there, whatever places we can go to get the word out, I mean, that's what we're trying to do.
And we are willing to expand out north and south of 50, even further than Lotus, if we did find an artist that really wanted to show, for instance, in Cool.
In Cool or
Somerset.
Somerset, Georgetown, Green Valley,
And keep in mind, the further you are out, the more it will impact your traffic.
That's right.
But we're willing to put you on the tour.
Yes.
So I'm not quite in South County, but I'm in that direction. And we also have another artist that sometimes is on the tour, Corinna Del Carmel, that's near me. And so we're both south of Pleasant Valley Road.
Yeah.
Some of the best studios are way out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Nels.
Okay, any other questions?
Dawn's been to my barn.
I'll tell you what, here's what we're gonna do, and I hope this works for everybody. I hope you can hear me. I know you can. We're gonna take our break now. I know you came to hear Dee Oldenmead speak. Obviously, she's either stuck in traffic or forgot or in the hospital or she just decided she didn't like us, but she's not here. So we're going to take a break. If you have questions for Matt or Wendy about the studio tour, this would be a good time to talk to them. Enjoy some food. Let's say
if she doesn't show up, we're all going to talk about the art.
We have, she and I have spent time with Dee. We know what she's chosen. We have some statements by the artist we can talk to, and at least you can see the winners if you haven't been to see the show at the MAC. So get something to drink, get something to eat, drink, be merry for about 15 minutes. Okay? See you back at 25 after. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That was way longer than I was wanting to go.
So Linnell, should I turn it off?
It doesn't hurt. Because just about the time.
Oh, it's this little guy.
Just about the time.
It's got potential.
I don't think it matters because we got the rental filter. So, but I think it's sometimes that information is on the website.
It is, but I, but I think it's better to have them talk to Matt individually. Although sometimes everybody's thinking the same question. So, yeah, anyway. Did I say that?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, she emailed you I forwarded her 2 weeks ago. That's cool. If you had one for, I was going to pick it up. Save her trip. Thank you.
Our member show in April, and you'll be in the that's what
These things?
Not those, no. What are those? This is, you wouldn't be
Birds and birds.